Hey everybody, Rodwan here. Thanks for tuning in to The Last Autumn, which is a Frostpunk DLC voted on by all of you for me to play on stream, which originally aired live on Twitch October 25th. Let's get started. So, the Empire, meaning, United Kingdom Empire, they are collapsing under the strain of climate catastrophe, yet no one is ready to admit it openly. A secret project to build generators is put into motion. So, a lot of the YouTube comments was sort of curious, why did people move north? The music's a bit loud? Yeah, it's a bit loud in my ears too. I think it's just, honestly, the menu music is particularly loud. But, so a lot of the YouTube comments were asking, hey, why did everyone go north? What's the deal with going north? Well, it's because down in the south, it was chaos. There were riots and looting and just people going absolutely batty. So as a result, people went north, where it wasn't so, where there was a little bit more order. So here we start in The Last Autumn.
Personal Journal of Euphemia McLaughlin, Assistant Engineer at Imperial Exploration Company. It's been 5 weeks since we have left the familiar walls of Birmingham behind. Weeks of uncertainty, of struggle, of hope. And finally, we have reached the shores. We had 3 deaths so far. Or small price for progress, as IEC called it. I can only hope I am going to avoid their fate. They've claimed there was nothing to fear, that this whole journey of ours was just a precaution. But now, it feels like the weather is changing. And the winter seems inevitable.
All right. We cross the rough northern seas to reach Site 113, where we are to build the greatest marvel of technology, a generator. Your crew, lured by the promise of a steady job and eager to leave the work riots and bread queues behind, are somewhat taken aback at the sight of the desolate landscape surrounding the site. They were not told to ask for details, and now there's no turning back now. There's no consensus why this contract has such a high priority, considering the deteriorating situation of the Empire. But your superiors are clear. This is the most important job of your life for Kreen and country. Okay. So here we start at Site 113. As you can see, there really is no such generator. I am to build it. Let me pause for just a moment to give you the lay of the land. So this would be the prequel, yes indeed. I don't believe the game takes place necessarily. Well, actually, maybe it does. I'm not sure. Probably, right? But yeah, here we are. We start off with 80 or 90 workers, 75 workers and 15 engineers. We have piles of wood and metal, steel, and a few steam cores, sitting around the job site here. And for every decision, I'm going to be polling you guys as to what you want to do. We also have a stockpile, I guess. As you can see, temperature currently is not a threat. It is comfortable everywhere. Hence, I'm just in my lumberjack shirt. All right, so before I even start, we are 1 hour away from work time. And I am going to set up my guys to make, I'm going to make some tech. That's the first thing I want them to do. Oh boy, I have to catch up. Matt, Glitch, Sky, Morpheus, Shield, and Sodium. Thanks for your subs, bits, and resubs. And here, of course, is the ocean. So this plays very, very differently from the base game. Let me unpause at 1 speed. Basic facilities. Before you start building the generator, you have to set up basic supply infrastructure, which means building docks and gathering the resources piling up by them. You will also need a raw food source, the fishing harbor or a forager's camp, set up by a food source somewhere in the plains. So there are no hunters the way we had hunters in the base game. There are no hothouses. There's none of that. You can fish or you can hunt on the open map, kind of like the way outposts work. And here's all my workers. And right off the bat, just to show you the laws here, these are not quite the same as the laws of the base game. So you've got Chapel, which is similar if you went Faith. You got Public House, which then leads to House of Pleasure and Bare Knuckle Boxing. Hearty Meals, Gruel, for if you offer more food for morale. Actually, before I even get into that, let me explain something else. So before, it was hope and motivation, and hope and discontent and hope, I should say, right? Now it's discontent and motivation. Because we aren't just colonists, we are actually working to build the generator. You have to keep your workforce motivated. That's actually really, really important thing about this. And then on top of that, we have quests down here. So right now, for the next 8 days and 7 hours, I have to research and build the docks. I have to gather resources piled around the docks, which is these piles of resources. And then I have to build a fishing harbor or a forager's camp for a source of food. Sky Collective, thanks for gifting out a whole bunch of subs as well. You're awesome. All right, so let's unpause. So the first thing I really want to do is to get researching, which means, of course, setting up my workshop. I feel like now that I'm not in that very, very loud menu, I could probably crank the volume up. Let me know if you feel like I could adjust it even more. So the way this is laid out, you have the inner ring, which is where the generator is going to go. And then you have this outer ring, which is a special work zone where you can't necessarily put normal stuff, right? I can't put my workshop, for instance, within the outer ring. You can put tech that I have not yet unlocked in that outer ring. Thanks, Air, for the bits. You put master down and music up. The music in this, unlike the base game, is not as heavy and loud. Okay, I'm playing on slow speed because unlike the base game, well, the base game eventually gets a ticking clock. I'm going to pause for a second. The base game eventually gets a ticking clock where the storm is coming. In this, you are on a work schedule, and if you don't keep up with that work schedule, you're fired. The end game, you can fail by not meeting deadlines. So the first thing I want to unlock is faster gathering. So I gather the resources around the dock a little bit more quickly, and I'm actually going to pop up another workshop, and also, as soon as I get the wood, a medical post. And here, word of advice, first steps. Sir, our employer, the Imperial Exploration Company, has prepared the site for us. Besides digging an enormous shaft for the underground part of the generator, they left some construction materials behind to get us started. We should set up camp and clear the area around the shaft to make space for construction facilities. Excuse me. So now there's a tutorial about the construction site, but I already explained this, I think, where the immediate ring around the generator is for specific buildings only. And then a lot of the research tree is significantly different too, right? In the base game, you didn't have docks, You didn't have generator construction. You didn't have forger quarters. So this is... I'm not going to necessarily say it's worth the price tag. That's for you to decide, especially after seeing this playthrough. But I do have affiliate codes. If you want to buy them, you just type !code. This is not a sponsored stream. I bought Frostpunk, but I do have affiliate codes if that interests you at all. So there's about 260 wood left to collect. Just shy of, let's say, just shy of 100 steel, and then some steam cores. So very, very quickly, as you can imagine, I will need to set up the docks to obtain steam. Well, steam cores come from something else. It comes from a telegraph station, and this will be explained in a little bit. But the steel only can come from docks, so it's really important to get your docks constructed quickly. Also, as you can see, I'm actually going to build a cookhouse. Where do I want to build this cookhouse? I'm going to build a cookhouse here. So let me explain why I'm trying to lay things out the way I am. The docks are going to go here, 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 and here. I just know this. Now, there are shipwrecks like this that you can extract for resources through non-docks. So there's this shipwreck for 1,000 steel, and then there's these huge coal piles for 4,000 coal. They're not efficient. They're not efficient, and you should not rely on them. If you have a workforce that has nothing to do, yeah, sure, it's fine, but I wouldn't purposely do that. Okay, it's putting more engineers in, and then I do want a cookhouse. And then I did mention also, as soon as I am able, to get a medical post. So the cookhouse, we do start with a little bit of raw food, and it's going to be a minute until I'm able to hunt for my own raw food. And let me catch up. The Air, Sky Collective, twice again, and Phoenix. Thanks for the bits and gifted subs. Yoda thanks you. Yoda, give him a kiss. He's our foreman. I'll give him a kiss then. You smell good, buddy. You smell like your shampoo. He's just sitting here next to me like, why do you keep picking me up? It's like, you should be used to this by now. All right, speeding time up a little bit. So the cookhouse will get us fed, and as I said, it's going to be a little bit until I have the technology to do anything with food hunting. But here we just got faster gathering, so we'll gather up the stuff around the resources here first, or quick. Next up, I am going to get Pinpoint. Thanks for all the gifted subs as well. I am going to go for docks. No, forger's quarters. And Camasia, 16 months. Cheers. Pinpoint here is actually giving away a whole bunch of games, including Frostpunk on the Discord channel. So if anyone is in here that hasn't joined Discord and you want a free copy of Frostpunk, or you want a chance, I should say. It's certainly not guaranteed. But you want a chance at a free copy of Frostpunk, go ahead and join said Discord. The giveaways, right now they're open until November 1st. And it's just community-donated games. I donated a few. Pinpoint donated a few. Good times. Alright, Niles. So they're through end of the workday. And they are about to make a demand of me. But I did manage to get this cookhouse to make a few rations. Just a few. 32. But that will make sure that nobody's going to, like, absolutely starve or whatever. Okay. Idle hands. So, as the first workday ends, people start gathering in small groups to chat or play cards. A couple of workers start throwing rocks down the huge central shaft. Deep, ain't it? And to think, we have to work down there. Out of boredom, or maybe to exercise their fears. Exorcise, I should say, not exercise. Whatever. More workers join in. Soon, rocks start raining down the hole. This might be dangerous, but the camp offers very little other entertainment. I can either let them be or stop them. Now, some of these choices aren't obvious, like what the ramifications are. But if I let them be, nothing happens, but there might secretly be a, some sort of negative consequence. Or stopping them, discontent will rise slightly. So one of the concepts here is all of the people here are more or less just contracted workers. And if they have enough discontent, they will make more demands upon you, or they will strike and refuse to work. And if their motivation drops a lot, holy moly, Sky Collective. Thanks for... You guys are gifting way too many subs, but thank you. Oh my goodness. So yeah, if you let them be, nothing happens. Again, you could always like Google or Wiki these consequences. I don't think the game should be played like that, but hey, that's up to you. Or stopping them, discontent will rise a little. So, we'll have you vote. A flash vote. It's been up a minute, and you all tell me to stop them. Okay. So, here's my discontent bar, and it has gone up just a tad as a result. For that individual event, I don't believe that letting them be brings on negative consequences. I've tried to look that up out of my own personal curiosity, and no, I don't think anything ever happens. I think the hole is deep enough that no matter how many little rocks they throw down, it's kind of fine. So one other thing that you can do, and this was true in the base game, is during the free time, it's a great time to build facilities. So I'm going to build a medical post here, because it's only a matter of time, given my current homelessness situation, where I get some, injured people. Homelessness brings on injury. I do plan on providing homes for them all, but I'm just waiting for them to ask for them, so I can reap the benefits of providing homes. They've got to complain first. So here they are. 3 of them just fell ill. And people got a cold. Sir, a few of our people got cold from sleeping on the ground. Yeah, okay, I understand. We should provide them with some kind of accommodation. If only because this might impact our efficiency in the long run. So again, I will type this up. So there's I won't address this right now. I'll provide some shelter. I'll provide shelter for everyone. So some shelter is half, and all shelter is for everybody. Sheltered people get sick a lot less. Sick people don't work. So they are right. The efficiency of this project lowers if people are sick. Not addressing discontent will rise, and then addressing these will make them happy to varying degrees based upon the choices selected. So if I provide shelter for everyone, everyone's going to be happy. I'll leave this up for 15 more seconds. These flash polls I don't want to leave up too long because, I'm massaging the vote. No, I mean, you can vote however you want, but providing shelter for everyone. I just wanted to make it clear what the consequences are for not sheltering people. I'm totally okay with that being the case. I just wanted to make it clear, like, hey, if we don't shelter them, they get sick, and then they're a lot less efficient. I just moved 5 workers off of steam cores onto the cookhouse. The people working in the steam cores, there's really only 1 steam core left to collect. So, we are very, very quickly going to, have 10 free workers. All right, we're researching foragers' quarters. Part of me feels like I should have done a sawmill, but oh well. Okay, so we have 3 people sick in palliative, not palliative care, but just be cared for. All right, foragers' quarters are done. Let's go ahead and research sawmill so that we could put some of the soon-to-be unemployed people to work. A forager's quarter, I don't currently have enough wood for, but I, right now, am actually going to use my wood for housing, because I promised them housing, and if I don't deliver on that, they will be very discontent. Alright, so the steam core is just depleted, which means I have 10 free workers, and I am going to put them on coal, just basic coal collection, because I don't have the ability for them to collect anything else. And right now, all of my workers in the cookhouse just finished cooking all of my raw food, so I'm going to put them on coal collection as well. Okay, we just got a sawmill, so I am going to crank one of these out right here. I'm going to queue up docks research and then use the remaining wood to build housing. So I've got 1 day, 10 hours left to provide 5 more housing than I currently have. But as you can see, as I provide housing, the discontent really does drop, which helps to keep people in line. Alright, at the start of the next workday, I'm going to take 10 of these workers off of this huge coal stockpile and put them on the sawmill instead. Because wood is much more important to me at this moment than coal. I'm not even using coal, I'm just stockpiling it. But wood will allow me to do some additional construction projects. And as you can see, the homeless are just roaming about. Some sick people are getting ill. I do have a fully staffed medical post, so I am caring for those that get ill. As soon as I have houses for them, it should be alright. And here is another decision. A reality check. I'm not so much going to vote on this, because obviously we're going to pass a law. But here's the choices. I'm going to put down the ones I'd like to consider, which is what should we do for discontent? Public house, which is like a bar or a tavern or a chapel. Now, the advantages of the chapel is it uses food resources to raise motivation, which is very, very important when you have evening service. A public house, motivation will rise slightly every day. One of the big things here is that at the start of every day, you're going to get a big hit to motivation. Basically, as time goes on, your workforce would become less motivated, and that is the new mechanic to sort of drive instead of cold. It's not getting colder and colder and colder. People are getting more or less and less motivated continually. Public house does lead to house of pleasure, prostitutes, or bare knuckle bouts, which is, boxing. The prostitutes can fall ill. The bare knuckle boxers can get injured. Chapel doesn't really have any negatives. Public house has a few, but, it looks like you all overwhelmingly say public house, so let me go pass public house laws. And now I'll have 4 days to build a public house. But, I'm not in a rush to build it because I need to provide housing. So, some additional tenting. Making sure that all of our people have a house or a roof or a tent really over their heads. Because let's be honest, these tents are pretty terrible. But here they all are. done. Now, I've got 17 hours left to build this. I'm actually going to take 5 of my workers off of coal so they can start constructing. Then the next thing I want to do is... I just got docks research, so let's get some basic docks. And then the next thing I want to do is to set up a forager. A forager's quarters so that I can hunt for food. But let's go ahead and add some research. Profiles manufacturing is the only research at my current tier left. And Sky Collective yet again with 2 more gifted subs. My goodness, Sky Collective. You really are motivating the workers here. Alright, so here's a forager's quarter. I think what I'm going to do is actually put a sawmill here and manage to put my forager quarter somewhere else. Because if you build too close to the trees, you won't be able to chop down the trees without knocking them over and losing them. And then I'm also going to need a public house. I'm not sure where I want this public house yet. Maybe here. Okay, so 10 hours left to build these houses, but now that everybody's off their work duties, that should not be an issue at all. We're going to get all those houses built, and motivation is going to go up. So the shelter promise is fulfilled, motivation rises. And then public house is built, motivation rises. So there is a daily loss of noticeable motivation. And the things that I've done so far only add temporary motivation gains. So it is constantly like a fight to keep your dudes motivated. I think what I'm going to do here is actually to build the chapel as well. Do both. The chapel is a very, very, very powerful tool, which is why I want it. Providing that you have food. It is, without food, the chapel's not very helpful. All right, so I'm going to take 5 workers off of gathering the steel and put them on the docks, and I'm going to have the docks deliver steel. Now, the docks can deliver coal, wood, or steel. It's up to you. Yeah. I guess that's all I need to say about that for now. The other thing I needed to build was the foragers, but I'll get that eventually. We still have a little bit of food stocks left. And then I'm also going to bring 5 more workers off of these wood piles and put them on the sawmill instead. Alright, the chapel is built. Motivation rises yet again. And the next law I'm going to pass is probably the evening services. To try to keep people motivated. But as you can see, there is a sphere. All of our people have access to the chapel. And as a result, there's a little bit of, motivation. But yeah, there, where we go. Living near a chapel has a daily effect, permanent modifier of motivation, which is more, in my opinion, a little bit more powerful than the public house. Actually, not even opinion. It just is statistically more powerful. Okay, telegraph station. So now that we have built basic resource infrastructure, we can set about bringing more people and steam cores from England. To do this, we have to build a telegraph station to telegraph them. And it would be here. Again, a balloon. Who would have guessed? And I just researched profile manufacturing. My next research has got to be drawing boards, which require 50 wood, so I'm not going to be able to do that immediately. I have to wait. Okay. We have a skeptic. You hear two workers arguing over the reality of global cooling. You really believe this end-of-the-world rubbish? One says. Me, I'm just here for the money. When we're done with this mad scheme, I can move my family out of St. Giles. Well, then you're a fool, because you'll all die when the frost comes, he turns. Ain't it the truth, sir? So we have 3 choices. Mind your work, lads. Discontent will fall slightly. So the science says, motivation will rise slightly. Only fools doubt it. discontent and motivation will rise. So let me write this down. So just to massage the vote a little bit, right now, my motivation is about 50%. My discontent is about 0. No one is discontent, and they're about 50% motivated. So you all get to choose. Hey, Scion, thanks for the resub. But yeah, totally up to you. I think this is a rip on global warming, obviously. I think there's a pretty clear and obvious comparison to be made, which I find pretty funny. And I'll leave this up for 15 more seconds. Can I hover over the options again? Sure. Mind your work, discontent falls. My discontent's 0 right now, so that's actually not all that useful. Just my opinion. So the sign says, motivation rises slightly. Only fools doubt it. Discontent does rise, motivation will rise. Okay, so the sign says... Personally, I would actually pick the last one, because motivation is far more important than discontent, given that my discontent is 0. But, you know, democracy. Gotta love it. Yeah, in my personal opinion, discontent plays a bit of a role more later, when you have, when you've got, like, worker unions and stuff. Early game, discontent doesn't really matter. They're gonna work pretty much no matter what. But either all three of those choices are fine. All right, so the next big thing I need to build is going to be the forger's quarters. And there we go. We finally have enough for it. As you can see, I have like a weird stepladder of buildings here. So the steel piles, let me pause a second. These steel piles are depleting. So the way these docks work is you have dock workers help to unload the ships, and then they stock materials in piles at the end of the dock, which then you need to collect. So there's a lot of people that have to work the docks. There's a lot of people that have to work the docks. And probably my next... Let me pause again. My next set of resources is going to go to another dock facility. Because all of the people collecting resources in these piles here, they are depleting those resources, and soon will need employment elsewhere. Yep, there goes another wood pile. Now, some of these guys are going to be employed in my forger's quarters. And there goes a steel pile. So I'm not going to currently re-employ these guys anywhere else, because it's almost the end of the workday. But now we did get drawing boards. So, with the next tier of tech, we can have more forgers, fishing harbors, medical post upgrades, faster reloading station, sawmill upgrades. So I'm going to do reloading station. What this does is it allows you to build a station which helps your dock workers unload the docks more quickly. Which is a very, very, very important thing to have set up. And then here's my telegraph station. So right now I have a logistical limit of 47, and I can telegraph England for more workers, engineers, or steam cores. I'm going to ask for 5 more engineers and 13 more workers. And it takes 1 full day for them to arrive. And I do just get, you basically just get logistics points over time. Oh, here we go. The line is open. And it's telling me, good work on setting up the construction camp. Here's a line of communication. It's basically telling me that I can order stuff from England. Doy, I know that. But so here is the boats arriving with steel. And this dock can physically fill up, and so can the piles of stuff. So it is important to keep them moving. And I'm about to set up my forger's camp. So here's the forger's camp. And for 20 wood, 10 steel, and 15 workers, we can build a group of forgers who now can explore the map. So here is the map I'm guessing this is supposed to be like Scotland, like northern Scotland, where all the good scotch comes from. Oh god, I just got thirsty. Alright, I can also pass a law, and I'm going to pass evening service. Evening service uses some food rations to raise motivation pretty considerably. Evening service is a very powerful motivator. If they don't fear the frost, they'll fear God, right? Northern Scotland doesn't really qualify as a desolate wasteland now, does it? Maybe back in like 1850, but probably not even in 1850. You're not wrong. Alright, so this dock is going to start delivering coal. I don't know. They're in some sort of theoretical north. I don't think it's like Iceland or whatever. It could be NIL, Northern Ireland. I'm not sure. Maybe it's Greenland. Who knows? I don't know what... I mean, this kind of looks like the Scottish Isles, maybe, but I could be wrong. I didn't look it up or anything, so I don't know. So I'm about out of food rations, but I'm not worried about that. They can live for a few days without too much food in their bellies. But I do have foragers out now, scouring for reindeer tracks. Much like the base game, your scouts aren't affected by weather or anything like that, which I always found a little strange about the base game. Everybody back home is freezing, and they're trudging through the snow, and they're fine. I don't know. Well, we could look at the trees. Yeah, I mean, the trees are alpine, northern pine, maybe, something like that. I don't think it's Greenland. But hey, I don't know. I'm not a biologist. A dendro. Yeah, and they're hunting reindeer. Where do they live? Yeah. So they're somewhere in Northern Europe, I think. I'll look it up because you all are just so curious. I mean, we're a one-day journey by boat to Site 113. It's called New Liverpool. So it's a theoretical area, I think. But it's a one-day steamboat ride. So it would definitely not be North America, because that wouldn't be a one-day steamboat ride. Like, ever. Alright, so we didn't find tracks, but I'm going to do these hunting grounds next. Who said it was even Earth? Well, they do reference the Empire, the Queen, England, all that. So, it is in the UK, but where exactly, I don't know. It is the multiverse, yeah. I'm going to ask for some more... Oh, no. I can't ask until the boats come in. Indignant engineer. Okay. So, an engineer complains to you, "Sir, it seems I've mistakenly lodged in a tent full of workers. Now you see, I don't have anything against workers, but they're quite loud and, well, sort of smell. Could you make sure that I get moved to an engineer's tent?" So this is an homage to what happens later, but basically I can say certainly, and discontent rises, or no, we have to make do, and motivation falls slightly. So what happens later in the game is that you sort of have this dichotomy of engineers versus workers, and you have to basically side with one or the other and try to keep the others happy. It can be tough. But I'll leave this up for a little bit longer, although it looks like overwhelmingly you all are doing the discontent will rise choice. Okay, it's a runaway. It's a runaway there, so I'll say certainly. Yeah, personally, I do value motivation over discontent until you have a lot of manufacturing later on, but that's nor here nor there. Okay, so here's the first facility I'm going to set up, which is the profiles manufacturing. I'm going to put it here. And this allows me to start building sort of the structural trussing of the generator using a lot of wood. I'm also going to make another basic dock up here. And I did ask, we have just shy of 20 people coming on this boat. So I'm also going to want to create some housing for them, lest they be upset. If you think I started earlier, it's probably a tribute to daylight savings, especially if you're in Europe, as you all just had your daylight savings clock turnover, and in North America, that happens to us in 160 hours next week. Okay, so now that we have a reloading station allows you to upgrade these just piles of stuff at the end of the docks for steam cores, and I'm going to build them. And one of the other advantages of them is that the reloading station will allow you to employ less people doing that task, which is, in my opinion, pretty important. Okay, the next thing I'm going to research here is protective structures. Protective structures allows you to use structural profiles to make work sites more safe around the generator. That's a pretty important one to have later on. So here's my reloading station, and I'm going to get another one of them. And I have spent 2 of my 3 steam cores, meaning that I'm going to need steam cores soon. I also have some engineers coming in, and I hired more engineers because I wanted a third workshop and the possibility of opening another medical tent if I need. So here's my transport. We do have 18 of them homeless, but I do have their homes set up to get built pretty soon. Now, I do acknowledge that I have no food rations, but this is pretty normal early on. Not that I'm saying it's acceptable, it just is typical. So, we did find a place where we can set up camp and hunt some reindeer. And they will be working for 4 days, delivering 80 raw food every day. So, we're good for now. Okay. Now that I have set up the camp, we've entered the next phase. I'm about 4 days ahead of schedule right now, and we have to build the profiles manufacturing, which I have here. And I'm going to employ 18 people in there. Actually, I'm going to employ 8. We have to produce 8 structural profiles and set up the shaft structure. So the shaft structure is in generator here. It requires 8 structural profiles, and you build it at the site of the generator. The structural profiles requires 25 wood each. I can set 1 up for now. So initially, I'm going to have to get a lot of wood. It is a wood-heavy thing. I also just had those workers delivered, so I'm going to call for... let's see. I'm going to call for 13 more workers. Manual labor is pretty necessary, is all I'm going to say. So here we've got the reloading station for the coal, and I'm going to employ 10 people in there. That's why I only had 8 here. And we are getting people hungry, but they're not starving yet. And in 5 hours, these foragers are going to be bringing raw food to me. So, yeah, we're okay. Now, I'm about to get a new law that I'm going to be able to sign in. So, you all can decide between House of Pleasure, which is prostitutes in the public house, bare knuckle bouts, which allows them to fight, which reduces discontent, but like sometimes they get hurt and need medical treatment, or hearty meals, which allows them to eat happier meals, but it takes more food, or Bathhouse, which lowers the risk of injury, but I have to build it, and it uses coal around the tents. So I guess I will type that up. What was the fourth option that I said? Oh, hearty meals. Sorry, I panned off. Just right. What is the second rule? What do you mean, Klein? The happy meals? Oh, gruel. Gruel is very, very sad meals. It rations out your food. I don't want gruel. We don't need on-site barrels or repatriation of bodies yet, because no one's died. We don't need radical treatment or sustained life, because, again, no one's gotten, badly injured or anything. House of Pleasure's an arcade, right? Yeah, let's go with it's an arcade. This is attempting to be a family-friendly stream, so yes. House of Pleasure is totally just an arcade. Exactly. You couldn't be more right. Alright, so let's see. You all say... Bathhouse, buy a hair. Buy a hair. Jeez, okay. So let's get the Bathhouse. I'm going to need a little bit more wood for this. We did just research protective structures, so the next thing I'm going to research here is faster reloading, so that we can reload or unload the docks a little bit quicker. Yeah, the Bathhouse's real advantage is that you keep a healthy workforce, and that therefore you keep people out of the hospitals better. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is knock down some trees. And actually purposely homeless a few people. Hey, Sky Collective. Thanks again for gifting. Alright, you. Boudoir photography. Supply ships bring... Okay. There's going to be a lot of options like this, and I don't think I want to spend all of my time reading through it. But basically, I can either confiscate the picture or leave the picture. It is risque pictures. While I type it up, you can read the details if your resolution is good enough. But essentially, there are some risque pictures being put up. And we have a choice between confiscation or just leaving it. Confiscation, discontent rises. Leaving it could lead to things down the line, but there is no immediate, no immediate penalties. And again, it is a runaway, so sorry that I did not let all of you vote, but when 90-something% of you all say one thing, we'll go with that one thing. I trust those sort of runaways. All right, so here is... What am I doing here? Faster reloading just got researched. Let's go with sawmill upgrade, so that our sawmills cut down trees a little bit faster, which then can fuel our structural profiles manufacturing. And my docks are idle. Yeah, I know. I don't have people to put in them, so shh. I don't care.
Get some rest, people.
So what I'm going to try to do is to put... Oh, I need to What I really need to do is let's kick all these engineers out of here and open up a cookhouse for tomorrow. Because I have some raw food, but I haven't cooked it. No one's going to eat raw meat. Well, probably not. Okay, I do have some homeless people, and that's going to raise some temporary injuries. But let's go ahead and get the bathhouse. As you can see, I deleted that one house so that we could fit it in. And then I'm going to try to get everyone living as close to the bathhouse as possible. Actually, let's get rid of that. So that they all benefit from the area of effect of, you know, the bathhouse. So motivation rises yet again. And we have another law. I could sign... I'll wait. I don't think I need to sign anything just yet because people are pretty happy. And if they're happy, I'm not going to bug them. But we do have a lot of people hungry. But that's going to be solved really, really soon. The cookhouse is now... has a bunch of raw food ready to go. And we're cooking. Okay. For these homes... I do plan on removing some of these houses that are outside of the bathhouse radius and just loading up as much near the bathhouse as I am able. I'm also going to get... I'll get a lumber mill here to start to chop the trees, just to make more room. Alright, so we do have safety concerns. I have 2 days to pass laws improving safety. I'm just going to do it, because obviously I don't want my people dead. So we have 4 choices here. We have got... we have got short shifts, which, as you can see here, they work shorter shifts, but and motivation will rise. But because the shifts are shorter, they get less work done. Then we've got the other safety law would be safety procedures. Sorry, I'm typing that all up. Where the efficiency of a workplace lowers by 25%, but motivation will rise and the workplace will be safer. The other choices here I left out because they don't actually improve safety. So I am not adding them. It's just really short shift or safety procedures. And you could hypothetically include both. But choice is yours. You're my boss. How much shorter are short shifts? So the workday is from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. And the short shifts are considerably shorter as a result. The generator construction facilities will only be open 8 days, or 8 hours. Which is it's a pretty considerable difference. Okay, so safety procedures it is.
New company rules are in place.
And sawmills are now chopping down trees faster. The next thing I'm going to get is, let's get some fishing harbors. Or actually more foragers. That'll work. So now, I can hit safety procedures on. It makes this workplace a little bit safer, but they do work 25% slower. A payment. Alright, now my new workers that have arrived, I'm going to put them on the docks up there and set the docks to wood. So now I am collecting steel here, coal here, and wood here. So I have the 3 primary resources, other than food, of course, but I do have a lot of food, being collected. And then down here, we'll employ some lumberjacks like me. Oh, another decision. So, releasing tensions. 2 of our people got in a fist fight. So, letters from home. Apparently over a lewd photo that came in the mail earlier. And you all didn't do anything about this. So here's the ramifications of this. I'm not blaming you, though. I can either punish them both, which discontent will rise, confiscate the picture, which motivation will fall slightly, or don't get involved, which discontent will rise and motivation will fall. So, your choice. Oh, that was weird. I'm very jumpy right now. The source video, it's getting better. Just drop some frames or something. So yeah, basically they now that you're voting, it's not too serious. One of them got a sprained wrist. Basically they bet on a picture and one of them lost. All right, so punishing them both, you got it. Discontent goes up a bit. Hey, look at this. Evening service. Boom. And they're all of a sudden magically happier. Oh, maybe it's not magic. There are no gatherable resources within the range of this sawmill, so I'm going to break it down. And then the people that were working there are going to be working here instead, and here. Soon I'm going to need let's build it now, a reloading station at the wooden docks, because they will fill up with wood and not have anywhere to go. And then on top of that, I'm going to turn off the cookhouse because I'm just about full of food rations. I don't really have any more room for them. So I'm going to change the engineers working from the cookhouse to the workshop. Okay, and then let's put another house. More forgers have been researched, and what I'm going to do here is put another forge cabin so I can have 2 sets of forgers out there. And let's pick new research forgers carts. I'm going to have the forgers move physically faster.
Enough work for today.
Okay, I'm going to start knocking down the houses that are not in range of the bathhouse. Therefore, we're using the bathhouse at its maximum efficiency because it only provides a radius around it. So I'm going to prioritize people living near it. Because we do have some injured people that are not currently getting treated. In fact, what I'm going to do is build another medical post. Out of fear of them getting severely injured. Untreated injuries tend to get exacerbated. And I don't want that. But everybody's eating now. Everybody that was hungry has now been fed, which is very, very good. Alright, and then breaking down the houses I'm not using. We have new laws that I can pass. Now, I could, if I wanted to, pass after-hours equipment maintenance, which would reduce the accident risk for all workplaces, but people will be pissed, because that just means they work more. So I'm not going to pass any laws right now. What I will do is take 2 of my engineers off of research and put them in a secondary medical post so that I can treat everybody. And let's go and call for a steam core and 5 more engineers and 6 more regular workers. I have 0 steam cores left, so I'm going to need them soon. And I am 3 days ahead of schedule. It'd be really good if I got more of these structural profiles constructed. But I don't want just 8 of them. I know it says get 8. What I really want is 14 of them for safety's sake. Because once I have 8, I can start to set up the shaft structure. But in order to make the shaft structure safe, I'm going to want 14. Because then what I'll do is I'll add additional scaffolding to keep my workers safe that are working there. So there's hidden costs that won't be apparent to you initially. And they're pretty important. I'm putting half of the people that were working this sawmill up in the reloading station. This is a DLC. This is the Last Autumn DLC. Here's a list of the DLCs. The Last Autumn, I haven't really tried the others, but the Last Autumn is definitely highly regarded compared to the other two, which is On the Edge and the Rifts. And what I can say is it pretty much fully changes the game. This game does not feel much like the base game. Okay, so we are continuing the structural profiles. And we just got Forager carts. Next up, I'm going to get a ventilation plant. I'm not going to explain what it does yet because it spoils a little bit what happens. I'm just going to research it. And you'll just have to trust me that I'm going to want that later. You've been watching the very first episode of The Last Autumn, the first of 5. If you have any feedback for me, let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in buying The Last Autumn, I do have an affiliate code for you in the description of the video. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next episode. Farewell.